quality versus quantity. So let's talk about why it is so important to focus on quality over quantity. You know, when we go to an event and we are grabbing all those cards and getting as many cards as we can, and believe me, I was so guilty of this. I would grab a card from anybody and everybody. When that little kitty of cards came around, I would go through it and I would pick out all the cards. I'd get 10 or 15 cards out of there, and every stack that went around the table, I'd grab them. Or if I was at an expo, I'd grab a card off of every table. And I felt like I had not done my job as a networker unless I left with 30, 40, 50 cards. And for me, as an aggressive, sharking networker at the time, I'd call every single one of them. Problem is, they didn't know me, I didn't know them. I might as well have just been calling out of the phone book. And the problem for the average person is they get all those cards and they're not going to call them anyway. So when we get all of those cards, it bogs us down. It bogs us down when we have 20 or 30 cards. Now, it depends on if it's a 1-hour Chamber of Commerce event. Is it a half-day regional event? Is it a 3-day event that's national or global, as to how many cards we leave with. But the point of the matter is, if it's a local event, maybe we get 3 cards, maybe 5. If we go to a big national event, maybe we do get 20 or 30 because we're there for 30 days. But the point of this tip, of this mistake that people make, is getting so many cards that you don't remember them, they don't remember you. What the heck are you going to talk about when you follow up? We're going to talk a lot about follow up and follow through and the difference between the two. But if we are getting so many cards that we're overwhelmed and we keep putting it off and we'll just do it next week or next month or next year, then what was the point of going? If we're not following through, we weren't there. We weren't there. So what's the point? When we go to an event, focus on quality. Focus on quality. So when I go to an event, it's so funny. The more I go to events now, people ask me for a card or go to hand me a card. I'll even play with them a little bit and say, they'll hand me a card and I'll say, well, what do you want me to do with that? You know, and it stops them in their tracks. They're like, well, I want you to call me. I want you to do business. And I'll say, well, I don't even know you. I don't even know if I like you. I don't even know if I want to call you. And then I'll play with them a little bit so that we can actually get to know each other. But stop putting your card in other people's hands without having the intention of creating a relationship, and stop grabbing all those cards. Let's focus on quality. I like to say, let's stop looking for leads and let's start planting our seeds. Because when we're planting our seeds, that means that some seeds are like a sweet pea, right? You plant a seed for a sweet pea, it pops up within a couple of months and it nourishes you very quickly. That's fast business. That's people who really need and want what we have right now. Some seeds are like pumpkins, and you plant that seed, and it might take a few months, but by the time that fruit comes to fruition, it nourishes us for a whole season. Some seeds are like apple trees, and it takes years for them to grow, but when they do grow, now we are fed for years and maybe generations. And I've actually created another kind of seed in my own mind. I'm known as the Mingle to Millions Maverick. A maverick is someone who is nonconformist, doesn't follow the rules, forges their own path. So I've created something in my own head of the maverick seed. The maverick seed is when we plant a seed that is so good, so yummy, so delicious, that not only does it come to fruition instantly or very quickly, but it brings massive, massive goodness. Let's see, there was an event that I went to where I met a gentleman who is a world-renowned networker. This is another thing. Don't look at competition, look at collaboration. I met this gentleman who is a master networker, and I followed him around like a puppy, taking notes, because there's always someone that we can teach, always someone who's our equal, and always someone that we can aspire to learn from. So I followed him around, and I learned from his example even more ways of networking. I was following him around because I was focused on quality. I could have spent that 2 hours grabbing cards here and there and finding people that I could teach, but I took the time to actually follow him around so that I could learn and take notes. He is a maverick seed because now that we've created that relationship, he speaks on stages in 54 countries, and he's become a bit of a mentor to me because he saw the hunger, the desire, the passion in my eyes, and now he's talking about coming to the United States. He does speaking all over the world. He's talking about coming here to do an event with me. So he is a maverick seed, and the more that I'm out networking, the more maverick seeds I get the opportunity to plant. So let's take a big step back and let's talk about quality versus quantity. Are you going to events, walking out with 10 or 15 cards in an hour, not remembering who you talked to, they don't remember you, not really creating clear communication and conscious connection, not really being present with that person? There is no way in a 1 hour event you can have meaningful conversation with 10 people. There's just not. So it's quality. When I go to a bigger event, I might leave with 15 or 20 cards, but I've had 3 days.